Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me, have some more RPG horror stories. It is 6 in the morning. I just woke up. I'm not feeling 100%. I feel a little sniffly, but I want to get some RPG horror stories recorded, and apparently I sound kind of good in the morning. So this perfect combination of sick, but also my deepest voice possible for RPG horror stories. Let's get some RPG horror stories for today. AITA for RPing a gay character despite one of my gay friends that always hits on me in-game. I know this probably sounds horrible, but hear me out. I, male 30, have a group of friends that always bounce together from campaign to campaign. A couple of the dudes take turns DMing. Well, one of my gay friends, 28 male, always plays a female character, and when he does, he constantly hits on me in-game. I know he mainly does it as a joke, and it usually gets everyone laughing. I'll laugh about it and always have to awkward turn him down in character. I'm far from anything even remotely close to homophobic, but just don't have it in me to flirt back with him. Wait a minute, so you don't flirt with your boys? Are you really boys if you don't flirt back? No, I'm kidding. Not everybody can be comfortable with flirting back with their boys. Like me, I'm comfortable, dude. Me and my dude friends would constantly platonically flirt with each other. No problem. There's like 4 or 5 dudes that I can think of off the top of my head where we ironically flirt with each other. But most of the time it's done, you know, when it's like for an audience or for a stream or whatever, you know, for general banter. That's how we interact and that's how we make comedy together, I guess. Because outside of Tales Tomorrow, I do some things on the side. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. I think there's nothing wrong if you want to flirt with your dude friends, especially when you play TTRPGs, but also you shouldn't feel pressure to flirt back or engage in any kind of flirting roleplay if that's not making you comfortable. Either way, let's continue. Now here's where I think I might be the a-hole. We started up a new campaign. In anticipation of the same trend carrying over, I made my character gay. And sure as crap, he made a female character as usual. First session in, his character starts making advances towards me. And I politely respond with, "Sorry, I'm not interested. And it's nothing against you, I just don't like women at all." Wait, so you're saying that you're gay? I sure am. He then goes out of character and says, "Alright dude, you can't just randomly say character's gay on the spot." I'm not. My character's actually gay. I even wrote in my backstory. DM nods that and checks out. My gay friend then gets irate, starts calling me a homophobe, saying that I can't RP a gay character and how I'm doing it just to spite him and that I am a bigot. Hold up, wait a minute. So your friend who's male and gay can roleplay as a woman to flirt with your characters in every single campaign, but God forbid you decide to make your next character gay. The horror! Suddenly you are now the bigot because you made a character gay. Listen, as I said before in a couple of videos back, if you want to make a hot, sexy lesbian drow gal, you're more than welcome to. No matter who you are, male, female, gay, straight, anything in between, you can make whatever character you want to make. Like your friend realizes we all pretend we're playing RPGs, we're playing characters, we are playing a role in a role-playing game, and therefore part of playing a role-playing game is making a character that is of various different characteristics. One of them could be potentially, just saying, as a potentiality that your character is not attracted to women. Wow, what a twist, y'all. What a twist. What a crazy concept. For your buddy to call you a homophobe because you're playing a gay character just because they can't flirt with you. I mean, they can still try to flirt with your character, right? They can still do that, you know? I don't know, man. Some people see like, oh, you gay? That sounds like a challenge. It's messed up. It really is messed up. But like, your friend could also roleplay that. Maybe they're like a hopeless romantic flirting with a gay guy the whole time because they're attracted to them and they know they'll never get together with them, but they're still gonna be trying to flirt with them already, you know, as another character bit. I don't know. Anyway, let's see how this ends. Now, he is right in the sense that I was doing it to spite him, but I was mainly doing it for fun. I truly thought he and everyone else would think it was hilarious. I had no malicious intent, was just trying to be funny. I tried texting him afterwards explaining myself, what I truly meant, no disrespect, that I was just trying to be funny. But he just called me a homophobe and won't respond to any more of my texts. I feel awful about the whole thing, but I really thought it would just be something small and funny. So what do you guys think? Am I the a-hole? Viewers, what do you think? I'll let you know what I think, but I'm very interested in seeing what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Personally, what I think, I don't think OP is the a-hole. They're allowed to make it. You're allowed to make a gay character if you want to. You're allowed to make a straight character if you want to. Hell, you're allowed to make a bisexual, demisexual, asexual, whatever character you want to make. A lesbian drow, straight tiefling, an asexual dwarf, an amorphous ooze that doesn't care for anything other than sustenance. You can make whatever character you want to make, of any class, of any race that the campaign allows, of course. But like at the end of the day, have fun making characters and role-playing characters. You made a character that wasn't to be offensive in any way or try to be derogatory in any way. You simply made a character because you expected your buddy to make another female character that's always gonna flirt with you, and you're gonna try to pull one over him as like a little ha-ha kind of moment for funnies. You did it for the purpose of being funny and going out of the general makeup and general breakdown that you guys already put together. For your buddy to get offended over that and start calling you a homophobe just because you decide to make a character just to pull like wool over his eyes or whatever the saying is, that I personally feel like there's nothing wrong with you making a character just for funny. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You made a character just to be able to pull like a aha gotcha on your buddy, but ultimately you're still there to continue playing the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. To remove you out of their life and to call you a homophobe for just making a gay character, you're like, if you're not making a caricature, you're not making like an offensive parody, you simply made a character that just happened to be gay and just not attracted to women, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, in my opinion. For your buddy to get that offended over this, I think is a little bit silly and a little bit juvenile. But I want to know what you guys in the comments think, so I'm looking forward to the comments. Maybe I am somehow a bigot for saying this is okay. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. AITA for already wishing I hadn't invited this player. I'm at a Dungeons & Dragons campaign with a few people I just recently met. One of these new friends just so happens to be in a romantic relationship, and we go talking about our respective partners. He sounds like a swell guy, lots of experience under his belt, he DM'd for people before, played even more than I have, so I ask her if he would be interested, to which he says yes. He joins after I ask a dungeon master, and he agrees to have him join. Wonderful news. We talk and he says he plans to play a pirate, morally gray, looks out for herself, that kind of thing. I don't know much about her since I'm only a player, but she doesn't seem too terrible, so I don't raise any questions. First thing she does upon coming into port at Starn is pillage several establishments, even dismembering and kidnapping a woman or running a shop because the dungeon master, not the character, accidentally said sir instead of ma'am. He phrases it as if he's doing the right thing by taking her after cutting her arm off, saying character name wouldn't just leave her to die, she's going to be part of the crew. We also had not made a single roll yet, not to determine how much she can rob or if the guard noticed her, or if any of the many experienced sailors stand up to stop her and her crew from robbing their alehouse of choices. Alright, pause. Pause. This sounds like somebody who's going on a Murder-Hobo spree for the sake of going on a Murder-Hobo spree and doing it as quickly and snappy as possible before the DM finally recovers from this flashbang of revelation. Just instantly. They're trying to find ways in specific language and wording, and the DM's accidental blunder of using sir instead of ma'am in order to be like, aha, this is my moment to let my crazy character, my crazy murder hobo, just go absolutely crazy and wild. Because unfortunately, sometimes DMs, they have an idea for a character they want to play, and they simply don't check to see if that's okay to play a specific character. Or the character they introduce to the campaign, like this pirate lady who looks out only for herself and does whatever she wants, chaotic evil kind of thing, is actually a lot worse than initially described. On top of this, any rolls he does make out pristine. In one session, he landed 4 crits and did not roll below 12 a single time, and once misread the DC for another player to escape his grapple, saying it was an 18 instead of a 14. Keep in mind, he's more experienced than both me and our dungeon master. By the end of the session, he had robbed our favorite barkeep twice, attacked my player character who was only trying to stop her from stealing, knocking me out with a crit, and attempted to take my unconscious character back to her ship. Made practically every player character hate her, with an exclusion of his girlfriend who only likes her because she's interesting, but somehow robbed and attacked several people with absolutely no consequences. Am I the a-hole for already regretting extending my invitation? No, you're not the a-hole. You had no idea how bad this PC would be. The a-hole here is this player, this quote-unquote experienced DM. There's a reason why some DMs always stay as forever DMs, because if you put them in a player format, right, they are gonna go absolutely buck wild and create some ridiculous characters, or in fact they'll try to use their experience and their leverage, the experience of being an experienced DM, to be able to get away with doing some crazy DMPC style characters. I bet you this kind of DM usually has crazy DMPCs that they usually run, and now this time around they can finally run those DMPCs in a regular game, and they're using their great vaunted experience of being so experienced in DMing and stuff to just basically start co-DMing, basically, or just hijacking the entire game just to let their PC, the Murder-Hobo that they got going on here, just do whatever they want to do without any questions before DM finally recovers from the giant flashbang. The right thing in this situation would be is for the DM to immediately, from the very beginning, from the very get-go, from the jump when things started to go bad, immediately be like, aha, hold on a second, wait a minute, let's talk about it, or let's do some sort of roles or something, just anything, or just tell the player no, potentially. If it's a new DM that is dealing with this kind of player, yeah, I can understand why they feel like a flashbang. I've been a flashbang before. When I first started DMing and stuff, had barely any experience or anything. I had a DM that joined as a player, and they basically started muscling the way around before I started realizing, wait a minute, what are they doing? Hold on 1 second, wait. Let's pull it back a little bit. At least I was quick on the draw, but dude, some DMs out there are not gonna be quick on the draw. And I feel like this player's coming in here just playing this chaotic, crazy character, just allowed to do whatever, and probably fudges the... I bet you they'll probably fudge the rolls at this point too. No, OP, I don't think you are the a-hole for adding somebody in that seemed like they would have been a good fit. The a-hole here is the player. This player, they came in playing this crazy character. But what do you think? Comments. I want to see what you think. Without further ado, let's get to the next AITA story for today. Man, it's gonna be a lot of AITAs for today. AITA for crashing out on my player. So I was DM for my group of lifelong friends. We're playing 1st edition Pathfinder with mythic rules and a bit of homebrew. Down the line, I of course realized that was a big mistake, but my story will be focused on one of my players. For context, he was a lawful evil Thessalonian wizard, I probably mispronounced it, who was reincarnated in Intellect Devourer. That was a premise of the campaign, as I made custom races for everyone: Doppelganger, Mimic, Centaur, and etc. All other players were lawful as well. Some were lawful neutral and some were lawful good. They made their own guild, and Wizard wasn't in charge, so from level 1 to level 8, everything was somewhat normal. We had agreement with him that at every time skip, I'll allow him gather 3 corpses for him to use, but their CR mustn't be higher than his level. And of course, he cannot use undead, constructs, or outsiders. Last one he didn't agree, so we made him custom magic items, so he can infiltrate bodies of outsiders when we were unconscious. This was a disaster. He soon found out about Demon Nabasu, CR8, and asked me if he could use it. I knew about Nabasu's growth mechanic in general. I didn't pay attention to it though, as it never occurred to me how badly it can be abused if it was in players' hands. He didn't come up with this scheme at first, but this what became his routine at some point. He bought Plane Shift Scroll, lowered his saves via negative levels, and started to use Nabasu's ability on random commoners, growing in stats on par to CR19, while being much lower level. He became stronger than everybody else in the group combined. I know I'm cutting off a little bit early here, but if you notice this pattern of this creature becoming more and more powerful, have you considered talking to the player, hey player, maybe we don't do that. Like, I gave with this creature, but maybe we don't to make it that powerful, okay? We're only level 8, so maybe we don't. But let's continue. The culmination battle between player guild and their adversaries begins. Took me using 4 level 15 NPC bosses with extra mythic abilities to make this fight somewhat fair. So, with much effort, his Nabasu body was defeated, while these bosses were at their last breath. And then he explodes out of his body, and symbol of pain that was written on his main body activates, making these bosses almost useless and easy prey for other PCs. After that, we have a talk, both in game. His party members in Demon Hunting Guild didn't appreciate him using demon powers, and out of game, tried to persuade not to use his body as it was too OP. He agreed in game not to do it, while his boss can see him doing that. And out of game, I really couldn't persuade him to stop doing this. Oh, you have this beautiful thing as a DM where you could just say, no, I'm not allowing this, and then call from there. I understand, maybe Pathfinder rules might be a little bit different, or maybe some sort of clause that's supposed to mechanically allow you to do this sort of thing, but I feel like at the end of the day, as a DM, no matter what system you're playing, you have the right to veto something if you're not cool with something happening at your specific table. I don't know if this guy is using some sort of an exploit. Maybe somebody with Pathfinder will have more experience than me, but maybe there's some some sort of a homebrew system that you allowed and simply just like, this is the mess it's made, you know, now you gotta sleep in it kind of thing. I'm not fully sure, I gotta be honest, but as a DM, at least I feel like personally, if you don't want to do something or don't want to allow play to do something overpowered, you could simply just veto it by saying no. You have that power as a DM, use it. So next session I said that in-game many people weren't happy with wizards' actions, as killing commoners with Nabasa ability turned them into ghouls, paladins of Lomeda, clerics of Pharasma, and many different factions were demanding guild to stop wizard from using Nabasu, and last wizard said he will stop. He said that only because he found another thing to abuse. He found blood money spell and the fact that he can drain money from bodies that he snatched. Started to use ogres to make himself army of his simulacrum, as they were essentially free to make now. With that, he had at least 4 of his clones with him at all times to heal him with wands, to fire additional fireballs, etc. And at that point, they reached levels where he had access to limited wish, which was essentially free for him as he had simulacrum cast greater restoration on him to negate a blood money penalty. Then we started his arc, as he was a wizard who came from the past. We started exploring his past home, and he and I came up with a very cool dungeon for players to go. Then came the horror. Okay, hold on one second. You have a player that basically creates a simulacrum using his blood money spell, was able to embody a body of a demon in order to grow powerful like a CR19 creature. Stop using it, went to with another different exploit. I don't even know if it's considered an exploit, but it's also read like an exploit. Having a bunch of simulacrums that basically walk around that you can make for free essentially, and then basically have a bunch of wands for healing you or casting fireballs to basically keep you alive no matter what. I like, maybe it's just something I just don't understand about Pathfinder, but this reads like the player is using every possible exploit in order to do something that shouldn't be theoretically possible, or maybe something possible only at very, very high level. I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. What I do know is it sounds like you have a bit of a handful of a player, and if you weren't comfortable with him doing something specific, you probably should have said no. Like, listen, I'm going in with like no experience. I don't know if this is standard for Pathfinder to be able to have that. Maybe somebody in the comments can let me know if this is more standard, or this is expected to do that at level 8. I'm assuming you guys are still level 8. You didn't level up past that. Maybe you did level up past that. It just wasn't mentioned in the story. But let's continue. It was the final room of a dungeon. I made 4 custom monsters with unique styles of fighting and good teamwork. After that point, he had 3 mythic abilities that we didn't understand how they're supposed to work. That's my mistake, I know. So one with his combo of abilities, he could target up to 4 targets with spells that does only work on 1 target usually, while not using a spell slot, but a mythic power which he can essentially infinitely use as his simulacrum can restore to him. He could initially spam 8 level spells with 3 additional targets. He used greater visibility and mind blank on all parties, so even true sight cannot detect them. And then he used polymorph any object on all 4 of enemies, half of them becoming useless mice. Other 2 were useless against invisible PCs, so he almost insta-killed encounters that I was making for several weeks. I was destroyed deep down, but we kept going. Next battle was with one of Rune Lords, Sarshen, who was a wizard superior back in the day, so I prepared a whole dialogue between them before the fight, with options to become allies or skip the fight. Then I started narrating her part of dialogue. Wizard said, "We're invisible, she doesn't know we're here, we ambush her." That was my breaking point. I crashed out and started to violently kick my closet as all my players were stunned. I fell on my chair and sit silent for 5 minutes. Then I apologized and our continued session. It wasn't long before we finished it anyway. In the end, I nerfed his blood money exploit, reread the abilities, and sit down to talk how I intended to walk, so he didn't have access to infinite spells anymore. Made up and still played together, but I banned him to play spellcasters in serious campaigns for a while. Edit. Thank you everyone for your comments, I appreciate it, I really do. After this incident, I talked to a lot of my friends and close acquaintances about it. Yes, I could have done a lot to prevent all this. Now I look back and see it. Shared the story here to see if I really learned my lesson with this. Turns out I could have learned more, as some comments put the situation in new light for me. Hope I can improve and grow from these mistakes. Okay, crashing out physically, I thought you gotta like actually just rage and like verbally like, you know, say, "Oh, you bunch of buttholes" and stuff, or, you know, say to your friend that you're like, you know, that crappy. I didn't realize you gotta start kicking your closet. Oh my god. Yeah, if my DM just stands up out of nowhere, starts kicking the closet until they bust a hole into it and then just sit around on the ground moping for 5 minutes, I'll probably feel a little bit awkward too, personally. I mean, listen, I understand the frustration, I fully do, but I feel like this is one of those things that as a DM, DM. You should have nipped in the bud earlier, and much earlier. Do I think you're an a-hole in this situation? Kinda, sorta, but I think the biggest a-hole here is your friend that basically, from what I imagine, probably use a bunch of different quote-unquote exploits and not exploits in order to basically beef up a character to make him like extremely powerful. And this is not the kind of campaign you wanted to run in the first place. I don't know, man. I feel like, okay, so if your buddy is indeed some sort of a exploiting butthole, yes, I think he's kind of the a-hole here. Are you the a-hole for crashing out? Yeah, sure. Yeah, a little bit, kind of. But I feel like you could have prevented this very easily by just talking to the guy and saying, hey man, whatever you're doing, I don't really feel like running that sort of a campaign, and I'm cool with you playing a spellcaster and everything, but let's set some sort of boundaries and ground rules for this sort of thing. I don't know, man. I genuinely have no idea. I kind of feel like, and this, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like the a-hole here might really just be the problem player, which is your character, the player that's playing the wizard. I feel like there's some things that they're doing that isn't really adding up to me. I just kind of have a hunch. I have a little bit of a hunch that the things that the spells they're casting and things they're doing are technically not allowed to be done, and they're just using that technicality in order to do that. You know, when somebody decides to misrepresent a rule and be like, I use create or destroy water to create water in their lungs, or I use mage hand to grab them from inside the throat and choke them out, you know, that kind of weird exploits where it's not like, you know, official, where they're basically just choosing to misunderstand the rules specifically instead of just like playing the game regularly. I kind of feel like maybe this wizard is doing the same thing. They're purposefully misrepresenting or misunderstanding the rules and going with that misunderstanding as if it's canon, as if it's law. And because you're not able to quickly clap back towards them, you know, this eventually escalates to them basically becoming, you know, using these quote-unquote exploits that aren't really exploits, but almost like this purposeful misunderstandings, purposefully deciding to misunderstand what's going on with the rules themselves or the description of the ability in order to get some sort of an edge in the game. And listen, I don't care if you like edging. I don't care for edging. But if a player decides to start getting some sort of an edge in a game by misunderstanding the rules that are very clear and plain as day, I kind of feel like that's a bit of an exploit. I'm gonna lean, and it could be wrong. And listen, if you let me know in the comment section I'm wrong, then whatever, you know, maybe the problem is just the DM because they didn't stop the player early on and didn't talk to the player early on. But I kind of feel like maybe your wizard player might be a bit of a shitter, potentially, and they're probably misunderstanding the rules or trying to do some sort of an exploit that I just can't understand fully because I'm not familiar with the Pathfinder system. Not to that extent. Not to the nitty-gritty of it. So if somebody else in the comment section that has more experience than me can let me know if I'm on a right hunch here, or maybe what the DM could have done, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys say. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.